that toxic pride. And if you could beat that, you've won.
Well, is this why then? Because would you like to just do in a sentence or two, which is, I'm told, never ask an author that, what Entering the Castle is about?
Well, Entering the Castle, really, I have to start by saying that I believe there is a mystical renaissance going on in our world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, our world is rocking and rolling. It doesn't take a genius to see that.
Mm-hmm.
We're at a very difficult time. And this book, I was motivated or inspired to write this. It's based on the work of Teresa of Avila, a 16th century saint, a mystic. And you could say, like, what value is the work of these great mystics? But the truth is that from these great mystics come insights that we are desperate for now, right? There's a mystical renaissance going on now. There is an awakening. If you'll notice, if you sit back and just listen, read, look, every conversation, everywhere, the underlying message, either overtly or covertly, is about God. I look in my own country, dysfunctional as it is. Everything's about God, from our politicians. And in my country, the fundamental premise of the government is the division of church and state, and now it's toxically married. It's practically a theocracy. But everybody wants to know what God you stand on in my country. You can't even get away from it.
Why do you think that is?
Because really what's happened is that it's part of the fact that it is a time of a mystical renaissance. All the wiring of the heavens is almost in hysteria, Robyn. All right, there's like a collision of the gods going on, right? But the way we're experiencing it is like a madness at the earth level. The jihad, the rapture, the fundamentalists, everything at the social level has gone crazy. At another level, it's a mystical awakening. And people are finding that at the social level, religion doesn't work. There's an absence of this, and that's because people are supposed to begin to discover how powerful they are to make a difference in the way the mystics did. Now, first of all, what is a mystic? A mystic is someone who experiences the power of God versus talking about God. People in religion chatter about, they're in the politics of God. A mystic is someone who experiences the power of God. That's the defining difference. Mystics are people who have changed the world through the power of their soul, not their ego. An evangelical is an egocentric screamer. A mystic is someone who closes their eyes and knows how to channel grace and change, literally heal, and just allow grace to flow through them and say nothing and heal a whole room full of people. That is the power of a mystic. What Teresa wrote about, Teresa of Avila, who was a 16th century mystic in Spain. She was an abbess. I could go on and on forever about Teresa. But she was such an extraordinary woman that toward the end of her life, her spiritual director told her that she had to write about how she came to experience her spiritual life. So she sat down and she said, I don't even know what to write. And she had a vision. And in the vision, she saw the soul and she said, the soul is like a crystal with 7 mansions in it. And you've got to go through these mansions. And she said 7. Now, years ago, I wrote a book called Anatomy of the Spirit, which became a classic. I mean, millions of copies have sold. in it, I took the 7 chakras and the 7 sacraments and the 7 levels of the tree of life, and I saw her levels of the mansions, and I thought 7, and what it suggests is that there's a fundamental level to us that just knows there are 7 stages of evolution that we go through toward a conclusion of wholeness, toward an initiation of wholeness. Teresa saw this. And as I studied her work, I realized that those 7 levels apply as thoroughly now as they did 500 years ago. That in fact, if I introduced them now, nobody would know that they were from 500 years ago. They are as valuable now, for example. And when people say, what is the soul? What is that? People have to have a way into this deeper state of consciousness that's called the soul. How do you get into the soul? Well, the first mansion is called the mansion of humility, chaos, and the seduction of God.
And that's why I wanted to get onto the book, because you were talking about the humiliation, and that's the first of the first few rooms.
So in the first mansion, there are rooms and exercises where you have to start examining how much the fear of humiliation has controlled you through your life. And as you take a look at that, little by little, you begin to see how many places and times and experiences in your life you absolutely knew you were being directed to do something, but you didn't because you were afraid of being humiliated. And in that recognition, you'll eventually realize, I heard guidance and I chose to do something else because I was afraid of being humiliated. And what you begin to realize is, I've been guided all along. And that's how you eventually begin to delicately realize, I do hear guidance. I do hear it. It's just that I've been so afraid all along of being humiliated. And pretty soon, you start hearing guidance very strongly again. And you start building a soul with stamina. So that when you go into prayer and you say, what do I do in this moment? And the guidance comes in, you're able to discern, I actually really do hear you. And that's when, for the first time, you know what power is. Believe
As
me.
in the power of love.
As in the power of God. We'll get to love later.
Okay. Have there been moments in your life, and it may or may not be appropriate, where there was a huge humiliation? That's obviously had to be worked through.
How many do you want?
I don't know, just 1 or 2 to give an example.
Oh my God, yes. Yes. You want a good one?
The best. That's had a really profound effect, that you've really been challenged to step into who you truly are.
Okay.
Yep.
I was invited to speak at St. John the Divine Church in New York. This is a biggie. This is huge.
How long ago?
1985.